What's up? I'm seeing a lot of talk lately about the failure of atheism. In the previous decade, atheism was on the rise in America, presuming to offer a better alternative to religion. Now some are saying that atheism failed to create its own values, and quite a few atheists are going back to religion. So I want to suggest some ground rules for atheists, for how you can live a meaningful life, with values. Now before I start, I want to apologize for not uploading much lately. The reason for it is that I'm writing another book. My previous book was more academic, but this one is more like my videos. In fact, it's basically all of my videos rolled into one book. And I am a much better writer than I am a speaker. So, if you like my videos, you have something to look forward to. I'm hoping to be done by November, and I will let you know where you can purchase it. So, atheism. Now, of course it doesn't surprise me that atheism has reached a dead end. I've been telling you all along that atheism itself is not enough. Atheism doesn't have values, because atheism cannot have values, because atheism is not a worldview. It is just something that you are not. You still have to figure out what you are. Atheists like to say that they rely on reason and scientific exploration. Okay, but that's not enough. Science can only give you the facts. You still need a metaphysics to put all these facts together. When you have metaphysics, you can form a worldview. And based on that worldview, you can create identities, values, ethics, etc. Now the problem is, there are many possible metaphysics, many possible worldviews. How can you tell which one is the right one? Reason and science cannot give you the answer. Science deals with physics, not metaphysics. We have no way of telling which metaphysics is the right one. You can only tell which one is the right one for you. And you do it based on intuition. For instance, I adopt Nietzschean metaphysics. Nietzsche rejected the idea that the universe is made of dead matter. He philosophized that everybody in the universe is self-driven and wants to conquer the bodies around it and shape them, or devour them in order to shape itself in a more powerful way. Based on this metaphysics, he explained all the known phenomena and created his worldview on his ethics. Now this worldview speaks to me because I am creative, so the idea that I am made of a substance that wants to shape the world is very appealing to me. It is a worldview that allows me to organize my life in a way that expresses my creativity. Now, can I prove any of it? No, but it doesn't matter. It makes me happy, and that is enough. Now, the first thing that you should ask me is, okay, then how is that different from blind faith? And the answer is that adopting a worldview isn't the end of it. You have to maintain a critical mind and always criticize your worldview to see if it is still the right one for you. There are 3 criteria that you should measure it by. The first criterion is, does it still fit with the known facts? Because remember, the metaphysics is a way to explain the facts. If you encounter a new fact that refutes the metaphysics, you have to factor it in and reconsider your belief. Secondly, does it still make you happy? Because as you grow older, you change. Your intuitions change. What once made you happy doesn't anymore. If your worldview no longer makes you happy, you have to ditch it in favor of a better one. And the third and final criterion is it moral? Now here is where people have had a problem with me in the past, because I am a relativist. I don't believe that there is one worldview that is right, but that there are many valid ones. Doesn't that also mean that I think that every culture has its own morality, and that they are all valid? And the answer is that while I am a cultural relativist, I am not a moral relativist. Morality is universal. It is rooted in our nature as a social animal. Some people claim that it was religion that gave us universal morality. This claim has always been very weird to me. What does the Bible say? Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not steal. What is murder? Murder is the illegitimate killing of someone. What is theft? Theft is the illegitimate annexing of property. So what the Bible says is, don't do what is illegitimate. Or, to put it more simply, thou shalt not do what thou shouldn't do. In other words, the Bible assumes that we already know the difference between right and wrong. and it assumes it because it is in our nature to know it. Those who don't know the difference between right and wrong, we put in insane asylums. Now, I'm not saying that it is in our nature to do what is right, but it is in our nature to know what is right. We don't need religion for it. So, we all know that it is wrong to murder, steal, rape, etc. But we also agree that sometimes it is justified to kill someone, in cases when it is the only way to prevent greater suffering. And here is where worldviews might differ from each other, because one worldview might lead you to the conclusion that killing is justified, in cases that other worldviews will disagree. How do we know which is right? Well, the thing you should ask yourself is the conclusion based on reason or on faith? Let's say that you see someone running with a knife towards a group of people and shouting Allahu Akbar, and the only way to stop him would be to shoot and kill him. In this case, killing him would be justified by reason. Your senses give you empirical data. Your prior knowledge tells you that you are watching a terrorist attack, and your logic deduces that you must shoot to kill, because that's the only way to prevent greater misery. This is pure reason. Now let's take another example. Let's take something from my worldview. Nietzsche believes that the stronger you are in spirit, the happier you become. This implies that if we get rid of all the snowflakes, humanity will become happier. So I might be tempted to want to kill these people, for the common good. But remember, I have no way of proving that Nietzsche's worldview is right. I adopt it based on intuition, on faith. So to rely on it to justify the killing of other people would be immoral. Now, those two examples are extreme. In real life, it is usually not easy to tell when reason ends and faith begins. And sometimes reason isn't enough, and you have to act on faith. And yeah, this is what it means to be human. There is no religion or ideology that will help you to overcome this. In the end, it is always up to you to make the decision. You have to try your best to do the right thing. So, these are the three criteria. If your worldview fails the test, you must change it. Now, this entails a couple of more things. First, you must live in a free society that will allow you to change. So fight to keep your society free. Don't be content with a society that tolerates your identity and worldview, but make sure that it tolerates all identities and worldviews. Because one day you will want to change, and then you might find yourself in the persecuted camp. The other thing that it entails is that you must have empathy to all humans, because you don't know who will be in your group one day. Right now, you might have opposing worldviews, but in the future you might be in the same group. So be against the position, not against the person holding it. Enough with all this demonizing people, canceling people, destroying people. Come on. This is why you should be a moral person. Like I said before, it is in our nature to know the difference between right and wrong, but not necessarily to do what is right. It is in our nature to do what is right when it comes to people that we perceive to be as similar to us, those who are part of our group. We naturally feel empathy towards these people, so we don't want to harm them. We don't feel empathy to those that we perceive to be outside our group. We need to teach ourselves to do it. So, like I said, remind yourself that we all change, so anyone might be part of your group one day. If you harm them today, you might feel awful about it in the future. So, for your own self-interest, be a moral person. Don't harm people, and fight for the freedom of everyone. To sum up, you adopt a worldview based on your intuition. You keep a critical mind and measure your worldview according to the three criteria that I mentioned. You ditch your worldview once it no longer stands up to this criticism. You fight to preserve a free society, and you treat every human as your brother or sister. These are the ground rules for a happy atheist life. That's it then. Short video. Like I said, I'm busy on my book. In the meantime, I may do more videos like this, where I talk to the camera. They are much less work. The problem is, it's hard for me to talk to you like this, because you look exactly like me. And I have to say, you are one sexy motherfucker. It's distracting. Anyway, see you soon.